I want to talk about the secret to building a company that people actually want to work for. That secret is gamifying your company. Why do we play games? They're fun, they're exciting, they're competitive, and you can win. You want to win. Every position in your company needs to feel like a game for the person in that position. I believe there's 3 parts to every game that are very important. The first off, you have your board. This could be your standard Monopoly board. So you look at the board and you know, okay, this is the framework, the structure of your company. So anyone looking at the board knows, okay, so I start in the start here, and then I just go around clockwise, and then I just keep going around. That's things like, where's your shop space? Where's your office? Where are the trucks they use? Where are the trailers they use? Where's the tools they use? It's just all the baseline things that people, if they look at, they just have an intuitive understanding, okay, these are the things we're going to use to do the job. This is a place I need to be, that sort of thing. The board should not be changing super often in your company. And if it's going to change, it needs to be an improvement. But you shouldn't be changing the board every week. If every week there's a new truck and new equipment and new office staff and new place to meet, employees are going to start getting very annoyed. So the board should improve, but there is too much of a good thing. It should improve slowly and progressively. The next thing people need is they need rules. Every good game has rules. Monopoly is not fun because there's no rules. Monopoly is fun because there's a bunch of rules that we all understand and we must play within in order to win the game. So now you have to strategize, how do I win this game within these rules? The rules for your position could be things like the start and end time, the dress code, the smoking policy, the communication standards, customer interactions. These are all things that need to be written out in a packet or a handbook or just something that the actual person who is starting the position is having read to them and they're reading on their first day on the job, because they need to know what to expect, what they're getting into, and most importantly, how do they win and lose at this game. The rules will tell them exactly how they win or how they lose. Now, a big question that comes up with rules is, how do I write a rule book that isn't just like 36 pages and no one cares about, but also still encapsulate all the important rules I want to get across? Well, the secret to that is values. Values are important because as long as you have good, concrete values that the leadership of your company is living by, the workers can use those values to deduce what the rules are of this company. Our 3 core values at our company are professionalism, communication, and honesty. I shouldn't have to put in the rule book that if a customer offers you a beer while you're on the property and you're clocked in, you have to say no. I shouldn't have to put that because our number 1 core value is professionalism. If I do, the handbook's going to be 36 pages long. If a worker can't deduce that professionalism and accepting a beer while on the clock from a customer don't go hand in hand, it's just not going to work. This isn't the right game for them. The last thing would be score. Games are fun because you're able to keep score some way. You know if you're winning, you know if you're losing. For Monopoly, this is how many properties do you own, how much cash do you have, how many houses or apartments do you have. For our company, and what I think you should track as well for yours, is 1, the workers' labor efficiency. How many dollars per hour are they actually working at? Now, what's great about our company is we actually give the workers a share of that profit if they exceed $20 an hour. So if they make more than $20 an hour, they actually get that bonus. But they have a safety net of 20. But we show that because I want them to be excited and see that, hey, you're working at a great rate, you're going to get a bonus, you're going to make more than 20 an hour. And on the reverse, I want them to also see if they're below the labor rate. They need to know if they're not performing at a $20 an hour rate, if they're performing at, there's a big difference between performing at a $19 an hour rate and a $12 an hour rate. At 12, you need to fix that ASAP or you're going to be fired. At 19, it's like, hey, man, we're just going to work on a couple little things and you're going to be right there over 20. It's a big difference, but if you don't share these numbers with your workers, they're never going to know where they stand. Next would be attendance percentage. Like, they should see that it's like, hey, I have a 70% attendance percentage because I miss work every Monday because I get hammered Sunday night and can't wake up. And the rest of my team has a 98 to 100% attendance percentage every month. They need to be able to see there's an issue here. Also, number of customer complaints. Again, the score can't just be keeping score of the wins. You need to be keeping track of the losses too, so they know where they're at. Your workers need to be able to look and see, hey, I have, 5 customer complaints this month, and everyone else is averaging 2. You shouldn't have to explain to that worker that's a problem. You want to have it there so they can just look at it and go, oh, I need to fix this. And the last thing we track is number of reviews and customer acquisitions. Again, another win. It's like how many reviews were written about you, how many customer acquisitions did you get, and all of these we have bonuses behind as well to reward them for doing well. And you could definitely add more, but the important thing is they need to have some sort of score tracking so they can see how they're doing against themselves and against the other team members. We personally track these daily, weekly, and monthly. In our office, we have a whiteboard that actually has the daily, weekly, monthly of all of these numbers tracked every single day. And every morning when we have our morning meeting, our team members come in and they look at their numbers and all the other team members, and they can see who won yesterday, who won last week, who won last month. They can see that, and then who did the worst, who needs to improve, if you're like a low performing guy, what's great about this is say you got like 5 customer complaints and someone else got 0 customer complaints, you can look at the board and go, I should probably go talk to Ryan because he has 0 complaints. Maybe Ryan has some good insight for me. Or if they just don't care, which again, sometimes happens, they at least won't be surprised when you let them go. I'm a firm believer that no one should ever be surprised that they are being let go from your company. If someone is surprised they are being let go from your company, you did a terrible job because they didn't understand where they stood score-wise in your company and didn't even know they were doing a bad job. Probably knew they weren't the best, but they probably thought they were just middle of the road. And the thing is, if you had given them those numbers and given them the information they needed about where they are score-wise, they may have improved. They may have been able to see the numbers and go, oh man, I really got to step it up and actually try to make a difference. Because a lot of those guys you let go might actually care about your company. They just don't realize how much of a drag they are creating. You obviously know because you know the numbers, but they have no idea. And at the end of the day, if you share these numbers, you try to help them, you do everything you can to improve this person, you're not seeing improvement, that's when you let them go. And the thing is, at that point, you come to them and they're like, yeah, I saw that coming. And that's fine. It's a more amicable thing. At the end of the day, they're not a terrible person. This just isn't the game for them. They just might not like the board. They might not like the rules. They might not like how you keep score. And that's okay. There's plenty of other games. They might be terrible here at this landscaping company, but crush it over at the plumbing company because they like their board, their rules, their score better. And that's okay. But if you want to build a company that people want to work for, you need to have these 3 things so that the high performers and the solid, just consistent workers, they know what to expect and they can figure out how can I win within this company without you having to micromanage and tell them exactly what they need to do. They're not going to do that. If they can see their score, they're smart people. They can figure out, did what I do yesterday help or hurt me at winning this game yesterday? I highly recommend sit down one weekend, take a day, take 2 days, and just write these things out. Write out, what is the board of your company? What are the rules of your company? What is the score? How am I going to communicate this to the team? Am I going to share this daily, weekly, monthly? Am I going to do all? Am I going to talk about this in the interview, the orientation? When am I doing that? The workers, they just want to know what are the rules, and they need to know that. Otherwise, you'll never build a company where people want to work.